It's hot entrepreneur summer here on the SPP. Let's get this party started. Well, hello everybody, Anthony here. Welcome back to another In Focus episode of the Single Parents Podcast. This is the podcast for anybody whose life may have turned out a little less than traditional. As I said in the intro of this podcast, we are officially in our hot entrepreneur summer era of the show. But what does that mean? So essentially, I want to use the rest of the summer, maybe beyond, we'll see how it goes, but at least for the entirety of the summer, I want to use those episodes of the podcast to bring on other business owners and just discuss with them what their life looks like as an entrepreneur. And these guests that we're going to be having on the show, they may be single parents, they may not be, but I just want you all listening, the single parent out there, to hear from these different business owners, take in their perspectives, listen to their stories, soak in their advice and encouragement. So that way, maybe you yourself can take the leap into starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur, doing something to take control of your life, no longer just surviving week in and week out and paycheck to paycheck and always missing your kids' games and appointments because you gotta check in with the boss. Like, no, you becoming the boss. What does that look like? Can that be a possibility for you? We just want to talk to people who are already doing it. That way you can decide if that's the leap you need to take for your life, for yourself, for your kids. We kind of started this a couple of weeks ago with Stephanie, and we're going to continue on today with our amazing guest, Kate, who owns a photography business. Actually, she is the one who took this beautiful headshot of this beautiful man. If you're watching the video version of the podcast, yes, that's right. That's my headshot there, baby. And Kate was the one who made this look good. Yeah. So excited to learn from her, talk to her, hear her story, and share her story with you all today. Because who knows, maybe you've always wanted to become a professional photographer, or maybe you have another business idea you want to get off the ground, and Kate's insight may help inspire you to do that. Or you can just come join me at my finance firm. We're always looking for new agents, looking for top talent to come there. So however you want to use your entrepreneurial skills, that's up to you. But we're excited to have Kate. I'm looking forward to this conversation we're about to sit down and have. So I think we just need to stop yapping, get ready to get into that good. But just a few more things before we actually transition over to Kate's studio. First things first, if you haven't done so already, maybe consider subscribing to the podcast, turning on notifications so you never miss an episode going forward, especially this summer. Hot entrepreneur summer. You never know who we're going to be talking to. I don't even know who we're all going to be talking to. We're just going to be talking to some cool people. I can guarantee you that. So you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that fun. Second thing I might just ask you to do is just consider sharing the podcast. Share the podcast with the neighbor, with the friend, with somebody who you know, single parent or not, who might have been thinking and considering and praying about becoming a business owner, but they're just not sure exactly what that might look like. Pass these episodes along to them, and I'm sure our guests will be able to help them figure out if this is for them. And then third thing, only do this if you think the show is legit and worthy of it, but maybe consider rating the podcast 5 stars, highest rating possible on your favorite podcast hosting platform. That way we can tell those algorithms out there that the show is legit, and it'll pass it along to more people. All right, everybody, we're going to be heading over to Kate's studio to chat with her now. If you want to get a hold of Kate, if you want to follow all her socials, if you want to learn more about her photography business, all the information for you to check her out is going to be in the description of this video, including the address of her business if you are in Elko, Nevada, and you want to stop by and book a session. All right, cool. We good? We ready to party? All right, let's get it. This episode is brought to you by me at Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development. Single parents, are you looking to take control of your career and financial future? Well, my finance firm is currently recruiting new agents with a business model similar to real estate. Here's how it works. Let me break it down. First, we'll get you connected with our brokerage, and then we'll help you get fully licensed to work in the financial industry. We fully train you to go out and help clients reach their financial goals and dreams. And something pretty awesome is that no past experience in this industry is required. We're just looking for people who are ready to make an amazing change right now, because I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of people out there who are a little anxious when it comes to money and the economy and tariffs and 401ks and retirement. And we just, as a firm, we're growing, we're expanding at a crazy rate because there's so many people out there who legit just need some good people to help them. And maybe one of those good people could be you. Reach out and let me know if you might be interested in learning more. I'd love to sit down and talk with you to see if this might be a good fit for you and your family. Yes, that's Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, where change starts now. All right, well, everybody, we are here at Kate Brown Photography with the one and only Kate Brown. How's it going?
Very good. Very good. How are you?
It's hot. I told you before we started recording, I stepped outside, haven't been outside all day. And as you can see, if you're watching the video version of this, wearing like a long sleeve shirt for some reason. So,
and black pants.
I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. Style over comfort, I guess. But thanks for joining us.
Yes.
I appreciate you being one of our first guests in the series that we're doing. Again, really just encouraging people to think about what it looks like to step into owning a business or following through with a passion or just being an entrepreneur in itself. And so if you're watching the video version of this, you can see we're in this beautiful studio that's all yours, right?
It is.
It's so nice in here.
Thank you. It'll be the 1-year anniversary, June 18th.
Oh, you're going to have like a big party?
I could.
You could?
I should.
And you should invite me because I love a good party. I'm not going to lie. There's this cool, you can't see it on the camera, but there's this cool chandelier right over Kate's head. That's so nice. Is that yours or was that here already?
It's mine. Yeah. Really, I tried to keep everything as original as possible. But some things definitely had to go. New door, obviously paint and flooring and good stuff. But
very nice. So I guess to really get into it, before we get into all the specifics about your life as a business owner, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are? Obviously, people can assume from the name of your business that you're a photographer.
Yeah.
But like, let's just go back in time. You can start all the way back when you were a little baby if you want. But take us on the journey that led you here and what actually got you into becoming a photographer / business owner.
All right. Getting nostalgic, taking me back, baby.
Oh, yeah. We're going back in time.
I was actually born in Elko.
Okay.
1989.
Nice.
And we moved around quite a bit. My parents actually divorced when I was 2.
Okay.
So my mom singled it up for a long time. I feel like their relationship was very back and forth. You know, like dad was here and then he wasn't. And we moved a lot. I lived in Arizona, California, Kansas.
Wow.
And then, of course, Nevada. Changed schools a lot.
Okay.
Finally finished high school in Carlin. Hung out with my husband, my now husband, there. And he was a little bit older than me. But after I ended up graduating high school, we started dating.
Okay.
And that's kind of history on that part. He's definitely my everything, my rock.
Nice.
But circle back around to my parents. Both ended up getting cancer.
Okay.
My mom battled colon cancer for 4 years, and my dad esophageal cancer for just over a year, I think it was. And they ended up getting married 15 days before my mom passed away.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Wow.
So it was bittersweet.
Yeah.
It was nice to know that in the end, all they needed was companionship. It wasn't anything to do, who talking to who or whatever, who's taking the kids somewhere. It was just in the end, they were both really sick, and it was just they needed that companionship. And I say that the life I lived as a child with a single mother, and I guess I would say poverty. I don't like to label or ever have anybody like feel sorry for me. So that's hard to be vulnerable in that aspect. But to go, I lost my train of thought. Oh yes. To go from being raised in a broken home to watching my parents be Nana and Papa to my kids was something I would do over again. I would see that heartache to see them love my kids so much together.
That's huge.
So that was kind of personal.
Heck yeah. Well, it's interesting that you brought that up, because I had no idea that was part of your story when I asked you to do this interview, but you, I guess, fit right into the context that is the Single Parents Podcast, because I guess you're on the side of it to where that is a part of your story, as in you were a child of a single parent.
Yes.
So I guess I'm going to throw a question to you. If you need a second to think about it, that's fine. But a little curveball in light of that, how else do you think being a child of a single parent has shaped you into who you are today? Because that's very interesting and not a question I get to ask a lot of people.
It's definitely made me who I am. Like, I really feel the trials and everything we went through has shaped me be a better mom and a better wife. I think we all grow up, or when we become parents, want to give our kids everything we didn't have. Sometimes that's not good because you're spoiling the hell out of your kids. But yeah, watching my mom work so hard to raise 5 kids all on her own.
Wow.
And never putting herself first. I don't know. Makes me wish that I would have valued her more.
Okay.
But definitely has made me a more patient parent, I hope. And just loving my kids and giving them what I feel like they need and deserve. And that's not, always things, it's experiences. And I just want them to feel loved and not have to go through what I went through, I guess.
For sure. I really appreciate you sharing that, because I was just talking to somebody recently. For myself as a single parent, I could get caught up in feeling as if I do need to do all the material stuff for my kids in order to feel like I'm succeeding, like spend way too much money on things and always feel like our Saturdays need to be filled up with all this cool, exciting stuff. And sometimes when I don't/can't do that, it makes me feel guilty, like I'm just not doing a good enough job. But it's encouraging to hear from your perspective that at the end of the day, it's just all about time, and that value of being able to see your parent work so hard and know that your parent was there. That's what matters at the end of the day. So I appreciate you sharing that, because that's something I've been wrestling with a lot, actually.
Yeah. And my mom sacrificed a lot for us. And growing up, I didn't have the nicest things. I had hand-me-downs. We had food from the wherever, food stamps.
Yeah.
But the older I get, the more I appreciate what she did for us to make sure we always had a roof, no matter where we were, and we always had food. And
wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. So, getting into your, I guess, journey of becoming a photographer, when did you realize that was like a passion that you have? And how exactly did you go from, I'm assuming, having that passion to turning it into a business?
Well, I think a lot of photographers say this. It's like the stigma thing of like, I've always had a passion for it. And I have, like, you know, in high school, I picked up the camera. I'm like, this is cool. This is exciting, you know, trying new things. And I definitely fell in love with it the older I got.
Okay.
And I think becoming a mom really pushed me because I was so independent.
Mm-hmm.
I had always been independent and always made my own money.
Okay.
And it was hard for me to swallow that I was now going to be a stay-at-home mom, which is what we wanted.
Okay.
I wanted to be there for my kids, and we could afford to do that. But I remember like asking my mom, like, how do I buy my husband like a birthday gift with his money?
I see.
But now I'm older and it's our money, so it doesn't matter.
There you go.
So I still kind of wanted that independence. I wanted to make my own money and my own journey, and why not do it with something that I'm passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it really started, and it's just grown and blossomed from there. I wish I could say that I just took a course and, you know, bam, there it is. But it's a lot of learning and trials and learning under other photographers and asking for help and taking seminars and just, you know, always learning. I try and do something every year, learning from another photographer, or kind of just taking courses here and there.
So how long have you, I guess, officially been in business?
Over 10 years.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's crazy to think. It's gone by so fast.
Nice. Okay. So 10 years in business. So you're going to be the perfect person to ask this question. So I always set this question up because it's really two questions, but one coin, but different sides of the coin.
Okay.
So the first part of that is going to be for somebody, maybe somebody watching this is checking this out because they've also had a passion for photography, and maybe they've always had an itch to turn that passion into a photography-based business. So on this side of the coin, what are some joys and aspects about the business, being a photography business owner, that you get to experience that maybe people don't know that's pretty cool about the job? Because we're not in it. We're not doing it every single day. But what's some awesome aspects about the job that you get to experience that maybe most people don't know you get to experience?
I think capturing memories, which is kind of, again, what every photographer says, but throughout the different aspects of my life, going through different trials, has made me photograph differently. So photographing a wedding, you know, I'm with the bride. I usually send my second photographer with the groom, and we're capturing the bride, right? It's her day. Her mom's putting on her dress. And then after losing both of my parents, I realized, okay, it's the groom's day too.
Wow.
His dad, you know, the bond between the mother maybe giving away her son as well. That's something to be valued as well. And so I think I see things in a different light that way. And I tell my clients a lot that weddings and funerals are some of the only times that your family will get together. So if you have a huge shot list that you want pictures with every aunt and uncle that you have, like, I would love to do that because I value that. And I know that one day you'll value it just as much, because who knows, that might be the last time you see them.
That's a good point. Yeah. Nice. Nice. So anything else in that, when it comes to that question, that you can think of before I flip
joys,
the coin?
all the joys.
Yeah.
all the
cool
fun
stuff,
things,
all the
right?
cool stuff. Because all I know is like so as I said in the intro of this episode, Kate actually did my headshot. And you guys, if you've been watching me for a minute, I'm a ham. I love being in front of the camera and taking pictures and stuff. So that's my joy, is like being able to be directed and get some good pictures. But for you on the other side of the camera, anything else that
fun
you get
stuff.
to,
I mean, I get to make my own schedule.
Okay, there we go.
If I want to take a week off, I can take a week off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to book anything this summer. I'm booked all summer. I want to spend the summer with my kids.
Yeah.
And so that's the joy. And then, you know, like, I want to run a boudoir marathon and photograph 12 women in one day, like, heck yeah, let's do it. Being artistic and trying out different things as far as like lighting, location.
Okay.
Yeah, those are some good joys. Definitely making my own schedule.
Yeah, I bet that's nice.
It's a great perk.
And I can especially imagine that as like a parent. So remind me, how old are your children?
So I have 12, 10, and 5.
Okay, so still young-ish. So I can imagine being able to make your own schedule helps in that aspect because kids are so unpredictable and they have a million things going on. So it's probably nice not having to go to a boss and be like, hey, can I have Tuesday at 1 o'clock off for a dentist appointment or something like that?
Pickups, drop-offs. I'm there for graduations. I'm there for award ceremonies. I'm there for a field trip.
Nice.
Like, it's great in that aspect.
Very cool. All right, so flipping the coin over. So I don't want to say now we talked about the joys. Tell me all the stuff that you hate. But again, I'm thinking of this from the perspective of somebody who might want to start a similar business. But you being in this space for 10 years, I'm sure have been through some ups and downs that people who are brand new to it might not even think about or expect because you just got to get into the weeds and know that the weeds are there.
Yeah.
So anything that you've been through or had to work through that is unique to the fact that you've been doing this for 10 years?
Definitely just becoming legit itself. Little things, getting a business license, getting a DBA, doing your taxes. And I've learned, even though I have been doing this for over 10 years, that I'll ask the stupid questions. I'll call up my CPA and I'm like, I don't even know what this means. What am I doing? Like just recently I have property tax now that we own the building. And then I have personal property tax where I have to pay tax on like my personal property, like my gear. And I was like, I thought I already paid this. And she's like, you paid the property tax. So there's a lot of little random things. And I just called her up and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you just tell me? And so, no stupid questions for sure. They're there to help you at the city and at the county. If we didn't have to deal with taxes, that'd be awesome too.
Yes.
But, I guess just kind of becoming legit. That's kind of, and I think a struggle that a lot of people wanting to come into the photography world don't see. They see like, let's run some mini sessions. I'm gonna make $200 a pop. And then, at the end of the day, you might be profiting that. Great. But then if you're legit and you're having to pay these taxes and you're having to factor in all of that. And if you are a single parent, $200 a session is not going to get you anywhere. Like you have to do your cost of doing business, realize, your cell phone, your internet, your car, your fuel, you need to pay yourself. You need food on the table. So you have to price yourself for profit.
Did you know that at Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, not only are we recruiting the next top talent in the financial service industry to come in, get licensed and trained to help a lot of people and make a pretty good living doing it, we also connect individuals and families with licensed financial strategists who love nothing more than sitting down with people and helping them accomplish and succeed in their financial goals and dreams. Thinking about retirement? Do you think it's possible you could leave generational wealth to your children? Speaking of your children, do you know if they're properly protected if something unfortunate were to happen to you? Single parents out there, where are your kids gonna go? Who are they gonna be placed with if something dire does come your way? We sit down, we help break it all down. We come up with solutions that are best for you and your family. And the amazing part about this whole thing, our appointments are 100% free. Yep, all you gotta do is get in touch with us and we'll put you in contact with the financial strategist who will make sure that everything is properly planned out for your financial future for free. We also have an amazing referral program for professionals and business owners who might be looking to add an additional revenue stream to their portfolio. Yes, we're talking about real estate agents, mortgage brokers, property managers, CPAs, and tax professionals. This might be an easy way for you to add additional revenue to your business model. Reach out to us one more time. That's Anthony Crosby, Talent Acquisition and Development, where change starts now. That's interesting. So for you, first question to follow up with that, did it take you, how long do you think it took you before you really felt that you were legitimate? So like you just started
yesterday.
You want people to take you seriously. You're still figuring it out.
I mean, it took me a few years for sure. Of course, I did it as a hobby before becoming legit, because I didn't want to jump into something not knowing where I was going. So of course it was a hobby, and I was building my clientele. But yeah, I mean, maybe 3 years or so, but I have a friend that she pretty much had to do it overnight. Her husband had lost his job, and she was kind of doing it as a side business, and then all of a sudden she had to flip it, and it's like, okay, prices are going up, things are getting serious. She had to be the breadwinner until he could get things going. So
you just had to do. So when it comes to this business in particular, I think I've asked somebody in a similar space this before, but when it comes to being like a legit photography pro, what does that look like in the era? I don't have my phone, but in the era of like iPhones and stuff like that, where I've heard people say like, oh, well, don't worry about a photographer because I could just take pictures on my phone, doing it at a wedding or something like that. Or you're trying to photograph a wedding and then Uncle Bob standing up with his phone in your way, something like that.
Always Bob.
So for you specifically in this space where we do have technology and everybody has cameras in their pockets, how do you deal with that aspect of being like a legit pro?
Which is great too. Like I do love, I mean, yeah, it's annoying. I haven't had too many like leaning out in the aisle at a wedding. And a lot of my couples do want an unplugged ceremony for that aspect.
I see.
And it's like 5-10 minutes, the ceremony itself. Yeah. Do you really need that phone out? But sometimes people do. It's about capturing the moments. So if someone's capturing a moment with their phone, sweet. What sets me apart as a professional photographer is that I want to create an experience for you.
Oh, okay.
So it's about the experience. Yeah, you can get the photographs, but was your experience good? Because you are going to think back at a photograph that you have and think of the memory.
Right.
If you have a shitty photographer or a shitty experience, you're not going to love that photograph.
That's a good point.
It can be the most beautiful photograph in the world, and you will look at it and feel disgust or hate or whatever you were feeling that day, stress.
Yep.
You can get a subpar photo, but if it's the experience and the meaning behind it, it's you and your grandpa and he's passed, and you have that one photo left of him. It doesn't matter who took it or how it was taken. It's the memory of that, or just the experience, right? The joy that you get when you opened up your Nintendo and your Nintendo 64 in 3rd grade, you finally got one or something. And it's just like the joy that lit up on Christmas morning, it's the experience that I like to give my clients behind the lens, over just taking the photographs. It's helping the initial planning for weddings, or helping go through lingerie sets, things like that for boudoir. All the way up until like creating wedding albums or or boudoir albums too. So
that's a good point.
For the experience.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then, so anything else that you can think of when it comes to some obstacles that you've had to overcome that come to mind before we continue on with this next question?
Obstacles just in general in my business?
Yeah. Anything that you're like, man, I had to work through that. I did not know that was going to be something I had to work through when I started this.
I guess just social media.
Okay.
Social media is so hard. Everyone's addicted. I'm addicted. I'd like to say like I went a whole day without being on Instagram, but then I fall back and I'm like, but I'm a business owner and I need to be on there.
Oh, sure.
So that's hard to manage, to promote myself in that aspect. It's nice that we live in a small town, so I feel like I've made a name for myself organically,
Yeah.
just through word of mouth of clients. So I don't need to full on do social media, but it's also nice, like, if it's in your face every once in a while, you're going to think of it. Whereas, if I just disappeared from social media, people would forget about me. And so that's hard. That's an obstacle that I still struggle with. Just trying to navigate it and try to be present, but also like show new stuff. What do I talk about? What do I say in this caption?
Sure.
I do have millions of images that I could post, but
Right.
is it organic?
Right. Social media, yeah, that's it's always fun. I do this thing, obviously, like all my stuff's online, and so my kids are the best at calling me out for that though, because I'll be just doom scrolling, and they'll be like, "Dad, get off your phone and come do whatever we tell you to do."
Yes,
And I'm
yep.
like, "Well, I got to post this for work really quick," and they're like, "No, you weren't. You were just watching basketball videos. You were not doing it." I'm like, "Fine, you're right. I
Yeah.
was using that as an excuse."
Yes. Yeah. It's hard.
So I kind of been bringing this up throughout the conversation, but this next question, I want it to be very much directed to somebody who's watching this, who pretend like you're just sitting down for a cup of coffee with them, and they're like, "Hey, I am thinking about starting a photography business or just a business in general, but I'm scared. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know. Maybe I just should." All these fears about taking that leap. What type of advice or encouragement or anything would you say to that person across from you at coffee who's just like, I want to do this, but I don't know. What would you say?
So something sticks out in my head from probably a reel that I saw on social media.
Of course.
And it was like, when you play a game of Monopoly, do you just go around the board and not buy any property? And it's like, you got to take some risks.
Okay.
And honestly, that's what like pushed me to want to buy a building.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was like, okay, I got to take some risks. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
But going forward, obviously it's going to be better in the long run. This is a great investment for our children to pass down. And I was renting for a while, and obviously costs are going up. And I was like, if I'm going to pay this much for rent, I'm going to own something. So that's what we did. But I really think just going for it, like, you don't know until you try. And I know there's a lot of reasons not to do it, but if you're passionate about it and you want to, if you have an inkling to do it, and if your body is pushing you to do it, then at least try. You won't know until you try. And I think having a good support system and a good community, you want those uplifting people that say, do it. I know you can do it. I believe in you. And not those people that are like, well, you see so-and-so failed, or are you sure you can do it?
Yeah. I try to remember the exact quote, but basically the idea of the quote is like, do you really want to let people whose life you would not want to trade keep you from making that type of progress, I guess?
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be people with opinions, or people who want to keep you down, but the people who are keeping you down are people you look at and be like, well, I wouldn't want your life at the end of the day. So like, why should I be so worried about what you're, versus somebody who has been in the business for 10 years, who's saying like, no, just go for it. Just try to take the risk. Then it might be more worth to be like, you know what? Like, if there's anybody I want to listen to, or at least just think about what they're saying, it's going to be somebody who has blazed the trail, if you will. Hence why we're here talking to you. So I appreciate you breaking that. What would you say though, specifically to people with kids, especially young kids, who are thinking about taking that leap? Because I think it's one thing for somebody to have those fears and anxieties just naturally, whether it's themselves solo or with the family. But when you have kids, you just always now have to think about what decision I make, and because that's going to impact them, whether it be tomorrow or 10 years from now. So somebody's, again, sitting from you at coffee, and they're like, I hear everything that you're saying, but I have little Johnny and Susie at home, and I just want to make sure XYZ. What would you say to that parent?
That I think creating a community is very important, whether it's a spouse or friends or, cousins, something like that. I really do believe it takes a village to raise our children. When I see my kids walking to the bus, I'm looking at the other kids, making sure that they're safe too, right? Which I hope any parent would do at the park when my kids are there. And maybe I've ran to the restroom or something and they're playing alone, like just looking for. So I think creating a community and having just someone to kind of fall back on, not only for moral support, but like, hey, I have a shoot next Saturday. Are you willing to watch my kids?
Sure.
You know, you were going to need that.
Ooh, that's good. I'm glad you said, because I love my single parent community, but I think one pitfall that we have is that we get a little too prideful in the fact that we'll say stuff like, well, I'll just figure it out.
Right.
Like, it's just me. So I have to do everything myself. I'll be Superman or Wonder Woman and all this stuff. And sometimes our pride gets in the way. And I think sometimes that keeps us from making some big progress, because at the end of the day, we're just one person. And as much as we are proud about the fact that we are putting a roof over our kids' heads solo, that's awesome. We don't want to take away from that. If I'm hearing what you're saying correctly, it's like, that's cool, but you're still going to need people around you to keep progressing, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard for me too. Like, even, oh gosh,
I'm really
asking for help. It's so hard. But sometimes you just got to do it.
Yeah. I agree. That's good. All right. Well, let's I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to the last question of our time together. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for letting me come crash your studio for a little bit. I really enjoyed this, but I guess my last question is just for you here in front of the people, whether they're watching the video version of this or just listening to it. Is there anything that you want the people to take away from our conversation, hearing you speak, knowing about you or your business without a shadow of a doubt? Like, if people can only remember one thing about you and your business after listening to this podcast, what do you want them to walk away knowing? I'm
like, Nike, just do it.
Just do it. I would put that, but I might get sued for copyright. So we'll think of a different way to say that. Same point.
Okay. Coming over adversity.
Okay.
Is a big thing. I'm very proud of the life that we have built, especially coming from my childhood, of how I was able to turn things around. And I tell my kids a lot, it's a lot of your friends that you choose. It's not so much how you grow up. You know, if you get in with the wrong crowd, that can take you down the wrong path of life. And I was very lucky and fortunate to have a great set of friends and a girlfriend that I lived with throughout high school. And so I was able to finish that. So I think not letting things stop you or hold you back, being positive. You know, my kids are like, oh, I have to do dishes. I'm like, no, you get to do dishes. You have dishes to do. You had food on your plate and you get to wash those dishes in our house that we own.
Wow, that's
so
good.
I try and spin things, and I even do it to myself, right? Like, oh, I have to take the kids to school. No, I get to take my kids to school in the morning. Like, how lucky am I that I get to do this and spend time with my kids?
Wow, that's good.
So I think changing the way you speak, not only to your children, but to yourself. And I get to do this. I am able to do this.
That's huge. That's awesome. I'm going to take that and I'm going to apply that. Because I literally just did that the other day. I had to go, I just did it. I got to go wash my car because I'd just been waiting for the weather to get nice enough to do that without the next day it raining and messing it up. But all day I was like, oh, I got to go take the car. But you just made me think about the fact that barely like a year and a half before, I was driving like a piece of crap car that you just turn the key, didn't even know if it was going to start, could barely make it down the road.
Yeah.
And then here I am with a car where the biggest issue is knowing when to take it to the car wash on the right day. So like, how awesome is it that I get to take a car to the car wash and that's my biggest inconvenience? Like, dang, like,
yeah.
That was good. I'm going to say that's going to change my whole life.
And I'm not positive all the time, I promise, but I really do, especially seeing it in my kids, right? When your kids are getting so negative all the time, it's like, am I being negative? Is that why they're being negative?
Okay.
And so just flipping that switch and yeah, They get to pull weeds. They get to wash the dishes. They get to do their laundry. Like, how amazing is it that they have multiple pairs of clothes that they get to wear?
Yep.
So it's just kind of
That's good.
Looking at life a little differently because you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I hope you had a good time. Okay.
Yes, it was a lot less nerve-wracking than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, good. We try to keep it chill over here. We're just all friends. But before we officially let you go, is there anything you want to plug? Anywhere the people can go check you out if they want to get in contact with you, especially the people here in Elko, they want to touch base with you after hearing this?
Yes. So my new studio is located at 443 Idaho Street. I'm right next to the old Cedar Creek building, right across from the Ruby's Bar. So come see me here. You can come check out even if you just want to come check out a piece of history, because I love this old building. Maybe another deep dive we could do in another day is that it was Fox Photo Studios for 50 years.
That's right. You told me about that.
And so it was just that another push from the universe that I felt I needed to purchase this building because it was once a photography studio and I'm bringing it back to that. So I'm here. You can check me out. Obviously, Instagram, Facebook. I'm sorry, I'm not with the TikTok times yet. And I don't even have Snapchat. I don't even know if you contact anybody on Snapchat. But it's just at Kate Brown Photography. My website is kateBrownPhotographyElko.com.
Cool.
And I love meeting new people. I love photographing weddings. I've been loving boudoir for the past 10 years or so, and I feel like it's a very empowering session that I really feel all women should experience. And then, headshot refresh, make some new connections with business owners around town, and it's been great.
Fantastic. And everybody, I said this before, but we'll put all the links to Kate's socials, her website, in the description of this video. So just feel free to scroll down a little bit and you can check those out and click on what you want to click on. If you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me at our email, which is thesingleparentspodcast@gmail.com. That's thesingleparentspodcast@gmail.com. All right, everybody. Well, that's going to get ready to do it for this episode of the SPP. One more time, thank you so much, Kate, for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having you on. Us. I said it right the first time. I thought again, it's that heat. It's going to my head. No, we're good. But that's going to get ready to do it. So until next time, my name's Anthony. Again, thank you to Kate and you all out there. Just stay beautiful. Bye.